I'm Andy Weatherson, also known as Thrashgutt Withersplouge, also known as Blaster. I play bass basically in all the bands that I play in. That would be Laid to Rest, Hostage. We have a little thing that we fool around with called Coke Spoon. And yeah, so I'm from Beamsville, right here, born and bred. Basically lived in this house pretty much my whole life. So as you can see, I got a collection of crazy shit going on. It's taken a while to accumulate. And yeah, so those are the bands that I'm in. And also, I guess we could include maybe Shit Bits in French. Bolts and I get drunk and make up weird stuff about how Kim Mitchell sucks. Yeah, that's about it. So. All right, so what got me into punk, hardcore, and metal? First off, I think it was my Uncle Rich, who was 10 years older than I was. He had a cool mullet, cooler than what I have right now, and a Camaro, and he listened to Black Sabbath, Ozzy, all that sort of stuff. And he showed me like the cool album covers of Bark at the Moon and whatever. And like as a, 8, 9, 10-year-old kid, you're just like, wow, like that's the coolest thing ever. And doing burnouts and Camaros and stuff. So that's what got me into metal. And then from there, on my own, I started trying to find stuff that was faster, heavier, cooler, whatever. So that got me into Metallica, like Anthrax, and then really when I got into punk, was DRI, because literally it's crossover. So you have that metal sound, but the punk attitude, and that's when I really thought, wow, like I get this what punk is, what it's meant to be. It's not about how good or flashy you can be. It's just about aggression and feeling and emotion and stuff. So that's pretty well what got me into it. Then also my friend Mike Morash, R.I.P. He had a place up the street from me here, Jam Spot, and that's who got me into actually playing music and jamming. That's where a lot of my older trainer gear comes from, and my love for that stuff. And he introduced me to Dayglow Abortions, Dead Kennedys, all that sort of stuff. But the Dayglow Abortion thing just blew my mind. The idea that you can just sing stupid songs, literally. Songs about anything you want, as it's just tongue-in-cheek, just stupid stuff, really cool, make it sound cool, and you can do anything that you want. And that's really what got me into playing music and trying to create stuff, and just being creative and not worrying about what anybody thinks about what you're doing or what you're trying to do. So yeah, that's pretty well the start of it. And then yeah, I bought a bass from a pawn shop on a whim, because nobody else played bass. Everybody was into guitars and drums. And I figured, what the hell? It's got 4 strings. How hard can this be? So, and then probably like a few months later, we were playing a show at the Corktown with the Hammer Boys. So yeah, that's what got me into the whole punk rock, hardcore, metal scene. So, and then it all grew from there. Next one, who were your main influences growing up? Well, touched on it a little bit in the question before. My main influences was probably my uncle getting me into heavy metal, really in punk and hardcore. and thrash metal, all that sort of stuff. One of my big influences was being introduced to the Dayglow Abortions. That opened my mind to the fact that you could just sing or do or play however you wanted, and you know, make songs up about anything that was on your mind. And it really blew me away that they're just regular dudes from Victoria that my buddy Mike knew, and a few other people that I actually knew and had partied with. So I thought, wow, this is really something, and that got me into jamming and being creative, and just really trying to tip the scales, I guess you would say, like to be on the outside and kind of be a burr in everybody's ass type of a deal. And yeah, that. And then as far as personal influences, my buddies that I grew up with in high school, Wayner, he played guitar or drums, and Corey played guitar. My brother Luke, who plays in Laid to Rest, and I've done most of my band stuff with, learned how to play guitar, and that really got me, kind of lit a fire under my ass to do something. And so I bought a bass from a pawn shop and never looked back, really. So my first concert, like big concert, would have been Nine Inch Nails, Jim Rose, Sideshow, Freak Circus, or whatever it's called, and Marilyn Manson, before really anybody knew who Marilyn Manson was. It was the Downward Spiral tour, I do believe. A girlfriend of mine at the time got tickets. We had a party bus on the way there, so we had a whole pile of mushrooms and smoked some joints and whatnot on the way there. Got all revved up, and by the time we got in there, even pulling into Toronto was quite a trip. It was at the Maple Leaf Gardens. We got in there with a whole pile of us. I think there was about 12 people total in the whole party that went there. Totally blown away. Marilyn Manson opened. Wasn't really a big fan of that or anything, but then by the time Nine Inch Nails came on, they did their set, and then halfway through, they completely destroyed the stage, threw keyboards into the crowd, smashed everything, and my thought was, wow, that was really fast. Like, what's going on here? Everything goes dark, and a screen came down, and they did Hurt with like the whole video and everything. And then when that song was done, it was like a silk screen, I guess, or something. So when the lights came back on, they had a whole new stage set up on, and they played Pigs, I believe is one of their songs, I believe. And yeah, being completely ripped on mushrooms and whatnot, psychedelics, it was quite the experience. And yeah, so that would have been like 93, 94 or something. 94 probably, yeah, 94. And then as far as my first like punk rock show would have been Forgotten, no, not Forgotten Rebels, Teenage Head at the Hideaway in St. Catharines. It's a toss up between the two, because I saw both of them there early in the 90s, completely underage, fake ID going into the bar, and there would have been Meet the Cleavers, the Egg People, who else was there? Sick Boys were probably involved in at least one of the shows. And yeah, it was down at the Hideaway. One of the bouncers that was there, he always used to wear a referee shirt, and his name was Wayne. I ended up actually working with him a few years later, he was an HVAC guy on construction sites, and we recognized each other. And he always told me that I was always right on the edge of being booted out of the place because I was underage and because I was always stirring shit up. But I was always respectful enough that he didn't kick my ass and throw me out of the door. And yeah, those were some of my first punk rock shows at the Hideaway. And then, of course, the Mind Bomb, Frat House, all the places, mostly St. Catherine's Ways. Those were most of the places I went to shows at. And yeah, that was right in and around the same time that I was picking up a bass, trying to play my own music, and you know, be a part of you know, the scene. And that was a big thing too, of the punk rock shows. I'd see people up there doing it, and I knew a couple of the guys, and I was like, man, that's exactly what I want to do. I don't want to just come to the shows and see them. I want to go make a scene and make shit happen. So those were my earliest shows. Yeah, the Hideaway, and trying to think of whatever else. My dad always bugged me about my musical taste because I was more into metal, really, and he had seen Teenage Head at the Jordan House, and he asked me all about Teenage Head, and I was like, oh yeah, I know those guys. He's like, well, what the hell kind of stupid music do you listen to? Those guys were great. So I never actually did see them at the Jordan House. I wish I had, though. But yeah, those were my first few shows. Yeah, big shows, 9 Inch Nails, and then it would have been, yeah, Hometown Guys, Teenage Head, and Forgotten Rebels. So there we go. What was your favorite shows you saw? Shows. Okay, so like I was saying before, anybody that doesn't realize, this isn't really edited, but we kind of shoot the shit a little bit in between takes and questions, and we came up with some, you know, old show stories and whatnot that I really like. So, favorite shows. Basically, any Dayglow abortion show that I've ever been to is probably one of my favorites. Motorhead shows. Most, you know, local punk rock shows and stuff like that. A couple of the really good ones was Dayglows. There's 2 shows that they played at the Frat House. Probably, I would say, late 90s. One of them was a show right near Christmas time. They had double booked a rave, so they wanted all the bands off of the stage at midnight. I showed up there probably 10:30 or 11. Dayglows were already going on the stage. There was a real kind of angry feeling in the crowd. I didn't know what was going on. I asked what was going on. They said, oh, everybody's got to be done by midnight. So the bands are all pissed off. They ended up playing their set, overturning their turtle pool full of beer and ice onto the dance floor, smashing a whole pile of stuff. BFGs were there. I do believe Kong was the bass player, maybe guitar player. Big, huge man in no shirt and coveralls. We ended up going over to the Frat House for their Christmas customer appreciation party, where we ended up smashing beer bottles. Kong was like eating out of the buffet with his hands. Bonehead and I, yeah, we're sitting at the end of the table, we're cleaning all their beer bottles up, and then we just ended up throwing them back onto the floors. Yeah, so Motorhead shows. The last one I saw was 2010, I do believe, shortly after the Lemmy documentary came out. We ended up, unfortunately, not actually being able to meet him, but we got a bunch of stuff signed from him because we were staying at the same hotel that the band and Lemmy were staying at. Again, completely high on mushrooms. It seems to be a theme, maybe, when I go to big shows, and it just kind of accentuates how awesome it is. I ended up standing, it was at the Lyric in Kitchener. It's been under a few different names, but the bar kind of surrounds the floor, and then the stage is up at the front, so there's a staircase that goes down onto the floor. And I was standing on the floor, or on the staircase right at the top there. And long story short, there was a dude that tried to take my spot. I kind of pushed him over into these skinhead guys that were standing next to me, and they kind of roughed him up a little bit and threw him into the pit. And they were angry at the fact that they were trying to stand in our space. And there was a young girl who kept going to the bar and attempting to bring beers to whoever they were partying with, and failed basically probably about 3 times, like tripping over the stairs, spilling beers. So after these skinhead guys were a little bit fucking angry with this other guy, she ended up spilling the beer on the skinhead dudes. They punched her out and punched her friends out. And then, so the bouncers come, take care of the whole problem. The whole time Motorhead is playing, and I'm just like, this is fucking amazing. You know, like, there's a girl getting punched out, and everybody getting punched out, and Motorhead's playing. It's fucking great. So after the show, I go to a strip joint, and the one girl manning the ice cooler full of Pabst, I was telling her how at the Motorhead show, I saw a girl get punched out by skinheads, and she's like, really, at the auto show? Good times. Anyways, those are some of the stories that I have to tell. There's many, many more. Dayglow abortions in Hamilton in the basement. The basement? It's King William, right near the cop shop there. You go down the stairs. I had a pretty interesting night there. Yeah, I'm getting signals from the back here. Anyways, we'll just leave it at that. I had a pretty interesting night. So anybody you see me at a show, or like you see me out at the bar or whatever, ask me about the basement with the Dayglow show, and I'll let you know. It might even be X-rated. So, cheers. Okay, so current and past band history. Mine's relatively short. I haven't done a whole lot of stuff. The first band that I played in would have been the Norris Wing, the fucking Norris Wing, with my brother Luke. That would have been 96, 97, probably 96 or so, through into the early 2000s. Then there was a long hiatus in between. In the early 2000s, we really didn't do a whole lot. Then the Laid to Rest started. The way Laid to Rest started, my dad, who worked at John Deere, he would always basically dumpster dive for a bunch of shit, and they were throwing away a bunch of PA stuff because they were going all digital. And so he had microphones, cables, some speakers, a few other things, and he kind of egged us on to start our band again, and which was the Norris Wing. And so he kind of gave us the loft in his barn to set up the a band, whatever band it may be. And so we did that, and it was just basically an excuse to drink beer and have a good time, play some tunes. Luke was working with Sandy, I believe, and he suggested a couple drummers for us, which never showed up. And Sandy, being the solid dude that he is, asked us what we were up to. We said, well, we're playing in a band, basically an excuse to drink beer. He said he could hold the beat down, and he became our drummer. From there, Laid to Rest happened, and then yeah, we did. There's been a bunch of spin-off bands from other members. Crom, Sam Axe, John Rambo, I believe, is one of them, maybe. I don't know. I wasn't involved in any of them. But we do have Hostage, which is a band that I play bass in as well. Basically, I just play bass and yell into the microphone whenever I'm asked to. And then, yeah, Bolts, the guitar player from Laid to Rest, started another drunk, just me and him thing called Shit Bits in French, which we've never really done anything with. And yeah, that's basically it. There's also Coke Spoon, which is a band that was started from Hostage. Our drummer Jarrett would typically show up late for jams. So we decided to basically start another band. Sandy plays drums, and Dan plays guitar, and we're not really sure who's going to sing. The only recorded song we have is Ryan singing. We toyed with the idea of basically whoever writes the lyrics is going to sing the song. So we'll see how all that goes. We're still kind of working all that out. And yeah, that's about it. Past and present. Laid to Rest is the main thing. The past 10 or 12 years. And then yeah, the fucking North Swing. That's where it all started from. Out in the garage. Same place down here, but out in the garage. It looked a lot the same. Just shit everywhere and piss all the neighbors off, and you know, punk rock, and just have fun and play whatever the fuck you want. That's what we're all about. So, cheers. Okay, so this is another tricky question. The craziest thing I've ever seen at a show. There's been quite a few things. I touched on it a bit before with the Motorhead show, skinheads beating people up and stuff. One of the wildest things that sticks in my mind is a Dayglow show at the Mind Bomb with Jimbo Jack singing the American anthem with his asshole while he was bent over with the mic stand all pushed down. That was pretty fucked up. Otherwise, like band-wise, yeah, I don't know. That's a couple of those things probably top that. As far as crazy things happening in the audience, I'd have to go to a Haymaker show at This Ain't Hollywood. I mean, it's a 150-year-old pub. I don't know if they soaked the wood down before they played or something, so it didn't go up like a tinder box. But yeah, the Christmas, what is it? Christmas Sucks? Christmas Makes Me Puke show. They had 2 nights or whatever. So it would have been December 28th, I believe. Yeah, that was totally insane. I stood right beside the side door where the bands come in the whole night, because when that place went up like a tinderbox, I'd be the first one right at the door and out. Safety glasses on. That's a must for a Haymaker show. It's probably the craziest shit I've seen. And then at the end of the show, when they gave away their Haymaker skate deck, and they threw it into the crowd, and it smoked a kid right off of the head. Probably needed stitches, bleeding everywhere. Yeah, I would say that's probably the craziest thing I've ever seen. What do you like the most about being a musician, and what do you dislike most? This is one of the weirder questions on there because it's contrary, I guess. What do you like the most? What do you don't like? I like the most being a musician, if I could call myself that. I like just the camaraderie, the friendship, bandmates, and just being creative together with other people. It's an outlet that I don't really have anywhere else. So that would probably be what I like the most about it. What do I dislike the most about it is maybe the cost of gear. I mean, if you could make guitars cheaper, I might buy more of them, right? As far as like playing in a band and going out, I have the luxury of being in laid to rest, which is basically just a bunch of buddies that hang out and happen to play music together and happen to be in a band. So there's really no issues as far as being in a band with that is concerned. But I guess maybe like, I don't know. I don't even really dislike the fact that it's tough to make a go at it. I don't know that I have any dislikes. Okay, so favorite foods. I would have to say anything barbecue, like, classic barbecue, briskets, ribs, all that sort of stuff. Porchetta or anything like that. That's probably my favorite food. Next to that, or maybe milled into that, is chicken wings. It's probably the best food ever created. Crispy, you can have them hot, mild, whatever you want. Spicy, sweet, probably my favorite food. And also barbecue chicken wings. That would be fucking awesome too. So yeah, that's pretty well my favorite foods. Anybody that knows me, they probably know that I like spicy stuff due to the question before, but due to editing, you don't have to see me suffer so much. Anyways, yeah, that's my favorite foods. One of the weirdest questions is what is your most useless talent? Typically a talent isn't useless, so I had a hard time with this one. After many drinks and a little bit of hash, I thought my affinity for all things spicy would probably suffice for this one. So what I'm gonna do is put a quarter to a half ounce of Carolina Reaper moonshine over there. It's called Johnny Cash 120 because it's 120 proof, and I'll probably start it with homegrown black ghost pepper, one of the first ones off of my plants that I got going outside. So not really a talent, maybe just like a tolerance, maybe. We'll see how this goes. I probably won't do very well, but I have faith in my friend Steve here that he's going to edit out all the bad parts. So here goes. Already in trouble. So yeah, there's my talent. After doing something completely insane and harmful to my body, I can last like about 20 seconds or so. And that's my talent. Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. Okay, turn that fucking thing on. Okay, so this is what, 4 or 5 minutes, basically.
Yeah.
After my useless talent, I've had a swig of milk. I'm good.
How you doing, Andy? Doing all right?
Nope.
Want some milk?
Nope.
Fuck me. Oh my god.
Trying my best here. This is supposed to be a talent, right?
It's useless though.
Oh, it is pretty fucking useless. Oh, man.
Want some more hash?
Are you going to film the shit I take tomorrow morning?
And on that note,
I'm Thrashgutt, Andy, Blaster, Weatherson, Splooge. Cheers.